You want to talk coins?
Sure.
Let's talk some coins.
Let's talk coins.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's been the single individual coolest coin that's come in raw, over the counter, that was, you know, in some envelope or something like that, that was part of a family for generations? The single.
Okay, let me just go back a little further because I go so far back that you won't believe what has happened and the change in prices. Going back to when I started, the price of gold was $35 an ounce.
Wow, yeah.
I used to buy $20 gold pieces for $42 to sell them for $45 and make a living at it. And when we opened the shop in 75, that was just before the big move in 80 and 79. And in, for instance, 2 years after we opened it, I had a gentleman bring in the XF 1804 dollar, which I bought for $100,000.
Wait a second.
Over the counter.
An 1804 dollar came in here.
Yeah, the lowest grade one. It's graded XF.
What specimen is it? Like that matters, right?
I forget.
It's an 1804 dollar. Wow.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
So that came in over the counter.
It was raw. Well, I guess it had to be.
Yeah, it was in a flip. Yeah, in 1978.
It was $100,000.
Right.
And what's that coin worth today?
Probably 3 or 4 million.
Wow.
You know,
that's pretty cool.
In 1971, I was at a coin show in Las Vegas, and I think my net worth at that time was maybe $10,000. And one of the other firms, Steve Markoff, had a ultra high relief. And it so happened that one of my customers, some fellow by the name of Sam Bloomfield, was at the show, and I knew he was looking for one. So I put the two together. I paid $55,000 for it, sold it to Sam for $55,500. So I made my show. I made $500 in 1971.
Wow.
That was a month's wages, you know. And
today that's worth, I think one just sold for about $5 million.
That was his coin.
That was his coin?
Yeah,
wow.
It graded proof 69. When he passed away, the first time it sold at auction, it brought $900,000. And then I saw it sell at 1.8, and now it's sold privately at just under $5 million.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
So, and I paid $55,000.
Yeah, wow.
So I can give you 100 examples of deals like that.
Yeah.
Back in the early 70s, I bought an original roll of 1835 half times.
Wait a second.
50 pieces.
I didn't even know there was rolls of coins back then. 1835 half times.
Yeah. Half times.
It was like a little paper roll? Or
bust half times. It was in a tube, but it was they were all basically identical gems. I paid $75 a coin.
Wow.
Now those coins today are anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000. I just sold a Mid-State 7 CAC for $15,000 at Fun Show.
Yeah.
So,
which is probably from that hoard. I mean, I guess somebody brings you a gem 1835 half time. You're just like, you know, I've seen a few.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Seen a few. What was the coloration on all the coins?
They were all rainbow coin, no brilliant coins. They were all tone. You know, because obviously they'd probably been kept in a coin cabinet. You know, so they were exposed to the air. They weren't in tubes because they didn't sell them in rolls in those days.
Wait Raymond albums full of coins?
All the time.
Proof seeded coin, really?
All the time. Wow. Yeah, amazing stuff. I had someone when we first opened, a young couple came in, and they had a bunch of circulated 1883 nickels. And I told them, yeah, we pay $3 or $4 a piece for those. They have 300 or 400 of them. They came in again a couple of weeks later. They didn't sell them the first time with some more of them. And I told them the same thing, $4 or $5 a piece. So then about 2 weeks later, they came in and they had 15 bank wrap rolls of 1883 nickels. And these were in the paper. The paper was crumbling.
Would they have stamps on them? Did it say like the name of the bank? I'm always curious. They were just...
No, it was just paper.
And they were just like gems?
And they were all gem uncirculated. Wow. But even then, they were... I I sold that deal, I think, for $65 a coin.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the day. Now they're hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Right.
But they, to finish the story with them, they brought those in and decided to sell them all at once, and they thought that the unks were going to be $3 or $4 a coin. Well, I ended up paying them, I think, $50 a coin for those.
Wow.
And the wife broke down in tears because, she had hundreds of these things. It was quite a few $1,000s. She says, we can buy a house now. We were just newly married. We inherited this.
Yeah.
And so by being ethical with her,
Sure.
it changed their life.
Right.
And we still made our profit and moved forward. And I believe wholeheartedly in karma.
Oh yeah.
In life.
Oh yeah. It's critical.
It's absolutely critical. And
the yin and the yang.
And everybody has stepped over the line and at some time or another, and you get punished for it.
Sure.
And the times you do the right thing, it comes back.
Yeah.
Positive.
You know what's funny? I was talking with David McCarthy, the great David McCarthy,
great
David McCarthy. Oh, it's going to go through his head. You know that, right?
Yeah. Well, he'll never see this.
Yeah, we were talking about, Dean always said, the founder of Witter always said that, the core of what we do is we offer free appraisals on people's items, and especially their coins, a free, honest appraisal. But I remember David said it in a really interesting way. It's like, we really solve a big need that is potentially causing a lot of emotional stress for some people. Like, how many times have you had somebody come in, it's a family, and it's one person, and maybe they're responsible for the coins. There's a lot of pressure to and they can't figure it out. It's where do you go?
It happens. It happens every week.
Whether or not they sell it or not, it's like they walk away going, great. I know what these items are worth,
And the other thing is you have to almost have a doctor's of psychology degree, because the one thing that happens is people have separation anxiety. Dad's coin collection, and he's just passed away. Yeah. What do we do with it? We know it has value, but do we really want to get rid of it? And I can't tell you how many times people have broken down, when they've offered us things, and you just try to sympathize with them. And the one thing I always tell people, and it helps assuage that feeling, and that is, and you can use this with your people, because I think it really works. And it's helpful to the clients. I tell them, look, if your father was standing beside you today and you had inherited his coin collection, he would say something to the effect, I enjoyed collecting these and building the collection or whatever. Now it's your turn. Use the money for what's important to your family. Don't just keep my collection in a drawer somewhere.
Don't cause it to be a burden.
Right. Yeah. Use the value for something to benefit your family. And that kind of breaks through that
it's a good point.
That
good
thing.
Point. Just to expand on that a little bit, sometimes what I like to tell people, and we're all after really to own great coins, right? I tell them, look, the people that we sell these coins to are going to be very excited. They're going to be happy. And I think that's one thing we do as collectors is we're so excited to make acquisitions and build our collection. It's almost like, their loved one who collected coins is passing that opportunity to other collectors through somebody like me or through somebody like you.
Oh, I try to tell people, look, it's important as you age to turn and pass the torch to the next generation and make sure these coins are protected and in good collections where they're going to continue on way past the time that we're no longer here. One of my big collectors was Harry Bass Jr.
You worked with Harry Bass?
Really?
That's really cool.
Very close friend.
So tell folks he's actually David. Maybe you not deserve the title, great, but Harry Bass does. Okay.
Harry Bass in the 60s, 70s, 80s was the greatest collector of United States gold coins. He collected it by die variety, and amassed a fantastic collection. He was part of the Bass family, so he had vast resources. And I'll give you a good example. I bought a collection back in the 70s. And there was a 1799 10. which ultimately graded Mint State 65.
Wow.
Okay? Back at that time, it was a $10,000 coin.
Wow.
Now it's 300,000.
Yeah, you shoot a hole in one today, it's still worth 10 grand.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So I called Harry up, and he said, well, I'll meet you at such and such a show.
Mhm.
And so I held it for him. We met a couple of weeks later. He brought a little box with about 20 1799 10s, all different die varieties, all of them in mint state, because he wanted to compare this to his to see if it was an upgrade.
Wow.
And it was, and so he bought it from me.
Mhm.
But that was the depth of his collection. I mean, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of value in today's world.
Yeah, and he's an anchor. I guess he's got his own wing at the American Numismatics Association Museum.
Yes.
So I highly encourage anyone, if you're ever at the A&A in Colorado Springs, go see.
But here's what I told him, and he didn't follow it entirely because he had a foundation and he has a core collection that basically is in the foundation. But I told him, you know, Harry, when you go, you need to make sure your coins get auctioned off and come back into the industry because you've amassed some of the finest known of many, many, many different things, and you can't bury them in a museum. And right now, he had some of his stuff sell, and some of it is still in the foundation, but I believe there's an expiration clause on it where at some time in the future, not all of it, but part of it will be sold back into the thing. And that's good.
Yeah.
And I tell every one of my collectors, don't take this and pass it down to people who don't want it.
Yeah. Other collectors.
You want this to go to other collectors.
Always other collectors, yes.
Yeah.
So how's the state of the hobby now? I mean, you've seen so many ups and downs and cycles. How do you view it right now? Let's say the hobby, the market.
Well, the market itself is very hot because since COVID, a lot of people have been turning to the bullion aspect of the market as kind of a hedge against all of the uncertainty we're going through. And now in 2021, the rare coin part of the market has accelerated, and people are starting to get over the COVID freeze, so to speak, and they're going to coin shows again, and the auctions are doing very well. So the hobby itself is as good as it needs to be. It's doing fine right now, and the market is doing fine.
How is the youth? Do you see more young people involved in the hobby, or there's more younger people coming to the shop? Is it down? Is it up? What do you think?
Tim's
special.
I think right now it's better than it has been in several decades.
Okay.
I worried in the late 80s and 90s that there weren't going to be enough young dealers coming back into the market, that the hobby was aging, and they all had white hair like I have now.
Yeah. How many coin shops do you think there are in the United States?
Oh, God, somewhere between 5,000 and 15,000 is my best guess.
That's that's funny. I always tell people 10,000, so we're pretty much in agreement. Yeah. In my opinion, I love coin shops. I think they are a sacred institution. I don't want to say it like a church, but they are to me, because each one is individual. They're all unique. So many of them are old school, and that's why I take pride in what I do, and that's why I'm fascinated by your place. But I feel like there's going to be a great generational shift that's about to take place, because we all make jokes about, when you go to your local coin shop, it's a gruff old guy in the back, right?
Right.
I mean, let's face it, that is the majority. And I feel like there's a huge opportunity, and it's almost our responsibility to teach or train or share our knowledge about coin shops with some of these younger generations that want to be coin dealers. Because let's face it, both you and I know a coin shop that's run right is a very successul business, and it's an immense amount of satisfaction. Personal,
tremendous amount. So much fun.
I worked in a coin shop where I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, Edgewood Coin Company, from 13 to 18. Everything I know about business today, I learned in that shop.
Right.
So it's more than just coins. It's like how to talk to people. And I'm sure Tim learned a lot of other things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here. Yeah. So, what do you think? What do you think are some ideas around kind of encouraging people? Because everything is shifting online and stuff, or encouraging people to open up shops.
Well, a lot of the younger dealers are gravitating towards doing everything online and everything using the state of art, electronics, and so on and so forth. But I try to encourage them that a brick and mortar foundation is what's going to carry you through all the ups and downs, because if you have a steady, loyal clientele in your area, and we go into a recession or whatever, the coin shops always weather the storm.
Yeah.
But, the online may not.
Yeah.
And yes, you have to have an online presence. We have online presence. We do a lot of business online. But the foundation and the biggest part of our business still comes from the brick and mortar store. And I hearken back to, there was a coin dealer in Montrose, California, which is about 20 minutes from here, called Herman Engelhardt. And he had been a dealer since the 20s.
Wow.
And when I was a teenager, I used to hang around his shop and, talk to him and learn business. And he'd sell me coins and I'd resell them and whatever. And Herman was about as old school as they get. He smoked a cigar and big, heavy set, German man, and had seen it all from the days when, a $3 gold piece was $3.30.
Yeah.
And, he told me then, he said, a coin dealer doesn't really start making money until he's been in business about 20 years. I said, well, why was that? He said, well, all the collections you've built for all of your people are starting to now become part of their estates. And they're starting to come back to you. And you always make a little bit more when you buy the collection, because you're going to make a little profit buying it. You're going to make a profit selling it. So once you start having that source of coins coming back to you, that's when you really make your money. Well, that isn't true as much anymore. It's not as important anymore because the prices have gone through the roof. It used to be that if you had a little local coin shop, you had to work hard to make a living, because the prices were very cheap. And now that everything is certified and coins are selling for tens of thousands of dollars, I can't tell you how many coins that I bought for under $100 that are over $10,000 now.
Wow.
Going back, I mean, I could list things for the next hour.
There's tons of opportunities out there.
Tons of opportunities,
For sure.
And because of coin grading and just the change in the value of the money and everything, prices have gone way up. But it still is valid to have a brick and mortar business, and then go to the coin shows and do the social media and do the online website and whatever. Do it all, but have a base.
Yeah,
very important.
It's just from a business perspective, it just makes so much sense to diversify your business. You do coin shows,
and plus, traveling I used to do 35 shows a year traveling. That's hard work.
Yeah,
you don't want to be doing that when you're 73 like I am now. Now I go to 8 or 9. And so. To just do those things and not have a home base, I think you're missing a lot of the opportunity. Yeah,
I mean, the phone rings. That's a good thing. You don't have to play offense all the time. People come to you, which is great.
Right.
But it's not for everybody. It's a lot of hard work. It really is.
It's hard work.
A lot much harder than what people think.
There's a lot more risk with your overhead and whatever than working out of your house and traveling to coin shows.
And how many phone calls do you get a day? I have a 1943 copper cent. It sticks to a magnet. I know, right?
It's endless.
It goes with it. So what advice would you give to a new collector? Like, you've worked with one of the greatest collectors around. You've worked, Harry Bass, you've worked with all kinds of collectors. What advice would you give to the viewers here that are take it to heart? Like, how could they be better collectors?
Well, it's all about quality. Some collectors get fixated on filling holes in a book and completing it. But that's not where the real enjoyment, the real quest comes from doing what you do, and that is dealing in the best of the best. So buy one coin instead of 12 coins,
Right.
but buy it in the highest possible grade you can afford. And then you'll get rewarded as the collection matures over time.
Yeah, I agree. Just buy the best, most eye-appealing coin that you can afford.
Yeah, eye appeal and quality. Those are the two most important things.
And they're out there. Even there's some coins that cost $2. That's like, it's the best example out of 100. I mean,
Exactly.
Like with me, it doesn't have to be dollar amount or how big and fancy the coin is. It could just be very pure, and it looks great for what it is.
Right.
And I would deeply, deeply admire any collector that put together, for example, a perfect fine VF Barber half set, and somebody just goes and hits the buy it down button and just fills holes.
Right.
Much more respectable.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know. I mean, I could talk about stories forever, but...
Have you had a big hoard come in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. However, the best hoard ever... well, I'll tell you about one of the ones that I did way back when in the early 70s. I was called in to look at a group of Commem gold coins that these people had accumulated. And it was 640 pan-packed gold dollars.
Wow. What is that, like 5%? How many?
It was a
vintage or something?
They had been for 20 years trying to accumulate as big a percentage. And some of them were in the little boxes, and some of them were in the little papers, and others were in tubes. And that whole thing at the time in the early 70s, I paid $65 a piece for them. And of course, now they're 1,000 to 5,000 a piece.
Yeah, wow.
But that was a pretty big hoard. But here's the best hoard story I can tell you, and this was Herman Engelhard. He had a woman come in, and she brought in this big cardboard box, and in it were original quantities of half cents and large cents. There were cardboard tubes of mint red 1855 and 54 and 53 large cents. Because I used to buy them from him for $50 a piece.
Wow.
Now those coins are 5,000 a piece.
Yeah, wow.
And there were 1835 half cents in gem unk and all kinds of stuff, as well as some very rare coins. I bought that came out of that group, a 1793 wreath cent that in about 72, I paid him $4,000 for, sold it to a good friend of mine that was the founder of the Gray Sheet, Alan Harriman, who built a beautiful, very high quality set for $10,000. The coin, when Alan passed away, graded 66 red brown.
Wow.
So recent. I think the last time it sold was a little over $200,000.
Wow. That's amazing.
And well, anyway, so you have this box of stuff. So Herman said he went through it and made her an offer. She had inherited this from her grandfather. And so they came to a deal, and he bought it. And she said, "Could you have your son come out to the car and get the rest of the boxes?"
Wow.
And he said, "You could stack up the boxes about 8 foot tall." And he bought all of them. And he told me that he earned a living for the next 15 years selling out of that collection. And at the end, after 15 years, when it was down to just a little bit, what was left he sold for what he had paid for the whole deal.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now, that was an amazing group. But, Abe Kossoff had original rolls of 1835 half cents that he bought from Herman.
Wow.
They were good friends, and a lot of the deals that Abe was noted for came from that deal.
Wow, that's interesting.
You know,
a lot of stuff out there.
Oh, there's even today. I mean,
think there's still stuff out there.
A few years ago, I bought about a 3/4 roll of 1870 2-cent pieces that somebody brought in that they had inherited.
It's amazing how many veins of original BU coins you're getting.
Yeah, because people saved them because they were unusual, you know. And I had a fellow. This is probably around 1980 when that market was so strong. Came in, and his grandfather had gone to the World's Columbian Exposition. And he sold us a roll of Lafayette dollars. They all graded mid-states 65 and 66.
Wow.
A roll of Columbian half dollars. They all graded 4. And he had partial rolls of 1916, 17 gold dollars, you know, like 30 pieces and 20 pieces, you know, because he collected them from each of the exposit. And, you know, that all came in over a period of about a year or two that she sold it. And that stuff, although it's not in the quantities it used to be, but it's still out there. There's deals out there that pop up. I know, being that your shop is in San Francisco, you see things all the time because the mint was there. And when we used to do all our road buys up at San Francisco, we bought all kinds of things that came directly from the mint.
Like what? What was really cool?
Well, the best deal, and I can tell you this one now because the fellow has passed away that I bought it from. We used to set up on Van Ness at the old Cathedral Hill before they tore it down and built the hospital. And he came in and he said he had some mint errors. And, you know, we would occasionally find some decent mint errors. Well, his brother worked at the mint. And worked in the proof coin department. So he had all of these incredibly wild errors that his brother, it used to be easy for them to buy coins that were damaged and whatever. They were just destroying them, and you know, it wasn't a big deal. And then when they started manufacturing mint errors, that's when they cracked down on that whole thing. But I've had some of the most amazing proof mint errors that you've ever seen.
That's cool.
You know, it's come out of that hoard, you know. And it's because he had a contact with someone who worked at the mint.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
very cool. So that's your last buying trip in San Francisco, because now I got that area covered, just so you know.
You know, I could still sit up there and run our ads, and we do just fine.
Oh boy,
I think the last time we did San Francisco was 2015. And I think you started there in 16?
Took over in 16, 2016, There's a lot of stuff there. There definitely is, right? I imagine there's still more, you know. There seems to be just kind of coins everywhere. There's a lot more coin collectors that I think what we all imagine. There's definitely a lot of coin collectors.
Well, the whole Bay Area, we would do... We'd set up over on East Bay, over in the Oakland area, and then downtown San Francisco. We set up down in San Mateo on the peninsula. And sometimes we'd set up near where Kagan is, up in Marin County, up north of the thing. And we'd be, you know, maybe 4 or 5 days in each location, and each one had a different group of people that would come to those shows. Bought some absolutely amazing things.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And they're still there.
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
There's still stuff out there.
Yeah, that's cool. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on to this episode of Slab Lab.
Well, I hope the people like it, and it's important for the few of us dinosaurs that are still left to do this and share some of these stories, because they're just going to get lost to history. I mean, I wish we could bring on Larry Whitlow from Chicago, who's passed away, and many of my other dealer friends that I knew for 30, 40 years.
Sure.
And no longer with us.
Got it.
Their stories are legend.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.